Welcome, dear friends. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Debbie Georgiani, and Jerry Usher, as I promised, was going to be back today. But unfortunately, he is in the St. Louis airport heading to Fort Wayne, Indiana for Redeemer Radio's Pledge Drive. And so he was unable to be with us for the show today as well. He will be back tomorrow, so we're excited about that. And tomorrow's a really hot topic. Do you feel you're under attack as a Christian? And so Jerry Usher will be back. But it's me again today. I'm not flying solo, though, for the entire show because I'm bringing on a special guest to have some fun and actually bounce some different thoughts and concepts and ideas off of him because he really is an expert and he does it in such a great way. And so I'll share that with you in just a moment. But like I said, Jerry's off to Redeemer Radio. We pray they have a successful share-a-thon. And I'm at the Station of the Cross in Buffalo, New York at their fund drive. And it's going well. You guys are responding really well. And it's just a great reminder to all of us. This is Pledge Drive season. And it's a great reminder to all of us to support our local Catholic radio stations and, of course, to support EWTN. So if you can remember to do that, we sure would appreciate it because you keep great programs on the air and we keep the conversation going and we grow closer to God and being formed in our faith. And that's what's important. That's what's going to make a difference in this world. Well, okay, so today on Take Two, and somebody was joking with me here at the Station of the Cross. They said, today is Take One with Debbie instead of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. That's pretty funny. But today we're talking about, is technology making us antisocial? Is technology making us antisocial? And here's the thing. We're getting a lot of Facebook posts that are saying, why would you even say that? It's making me more social. I'm connecting better and I can connect with friends all over the world and stay in touch and I'm using it for the good. And that is so true. And so that's what Take Two is all about. We want to discuss it from every single angle. So think about that for a moment and maybe call in and share your take on it. So I'm going to give you the number and then I want to share one more thing and then bring on our special guest. So the number to dial is 1-800-585-9396. 1-800-585-9396. Just real quickly, the reason why Jerry's in the St. Louis airport is he was finishing up the One Faith experience that we held last weekend with 6 of the top speakers and the concert we had in the evening. And the One Faith experience was televised on EWTN, and we are receiving comments from all over the world. In fact, I believe we got a comment this morning from Australia requesting the DVD. And yes, for this week only, the DVD is still at the 30% reduced price, the discounted price, which is exciting. And so you can go to onefaithexperience.com to get the conference DVD with bonus footage, behind the scenes footage. It's pretty cool when you see Hector Molina and Tim Staples kind of making jokes back and forth, and Teresa Tomeo and Father Larry and Deacon Harold Burke-Sivers and Adam Bly, and Jerry and I really got into it as well, and it's pretty exciting. So the DVD, go to onefaithexperience.com. Okay, no more suspense. I'm going to introduce our guest. He's going to be with us for the first part of the show. And I know you love listening to his show, which comes right after Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, Dr. Ray Garendi. He is with us from The Doctor Is In. And Dr. Ray, thank you so much for being with us today on Take Two.
Well, I got to go on the air. I got to go on the air in 4 minutes. Just call me back. No, text me. You want my email? All right, I'll do the email. Well, put it on YouTube. Wait a second, I got another call coming in. Hold on a second. I got to take care of this right now. No, honey.
Goodness.
No, I can't. No, I can't get milk. Tell one of the kids to do. Text them. Just tell them. Okay. Hello? Debbie? Is that you?
Yes, it is, Dr. Ray.
Okay, hold on a second. Yeah, no, I got to go. Debbie gets really upset. She's Italian. She'll fire this place up. No, yeah, yeah. She comes across real holy on the air. Yeah, but you make her mad.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. Hi, Deb. How are you?
Hi, Dr. Ray. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. By the way, I'm a little offended.
Tell us.
Well, okay. The only reason I'm on here is because Jerry couldn't be. This is kind of like college. When the first girl that I asked out said, no, I'm going out with Biff. So I'm second.
Oh my goodness. No, really, I think about you all the time. I listen to your show. I mean, I'm really trying to be a great supporter.
Yeah. Okay. That's what the college girls said when they wanted me to do their term paper. Yeah, I really like you a lot. Can you do my term paper?
Oh, well, bless your heart for being on. I really needed another person today to really kind of bounce some of these technology ideas off of, and you were the perfect person. And so, and I don't mean to tell you this, but on the air, we could hear you talking on, your phone and texting, and really was kind of maybe a bit inappropriate, but that's okay, Dr. Ray. We appreciate you being on.
Deb, let me tell you
Yes.
this. I don't know why you got me on here for technology, because I don't want to say I'm my great grandpa, but my cell phone has a rotary dial.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
As long as you're not talking on your shoe. You're like, what was that? Get smart?
Yep. Get smart.
Get smart. There you go. But Dr. Ray, seriously though, you help so many people, and you are so real with people in their situations in life. Technology, seriously, we've heard the good of it. I mean, yes, of course, to connect people. We're using technology right now to be able to broadcast across the airwaves, across the world, and on television. We get that. But have you seen kind of behind the scenes the downside of what technology can do?
In the wrong hands? Yeah. And the wrong hands tend to be kid hands. That's the problem. Yes, grown-ups misuse technology. There's no question about that. But where the big problem comes in, the kids. The big people are not, first of all, they're not keeping up with technology. Every kid can get around his parents. The parents will say, no, I monitor it. No, you don't. You can't, because these kids are much more tech savvy than you are. That's first thing. So I would suggest, anybody listening, the parents have to realize that the kind of technology their kids are using, social media in particular, and the internet sites, the parents have to now really monitor this stuff. And I'm going to tell you, in my opinion, my clinical experience, 95% of parents don't.
Why is that? Why do you think 95% of the parents don't?
One is lazy. Two is trust. Believe it or not, Deb, I can't tell you how many Catholic parents I've talked to that are living this idea that my kids wouldn't do that. My kids have formed morals. And then they come to me. I can't believe the internet sites he was on. Do you have screening on your computer? Well, no, I didn't think we needed it. You need it. That's another factor. A third factor, believe it or not, is they just assume it's not really a problem. It's not really a big deal. My daughter's 13. She has her cell phone. She has the latest in iPhones, which can put her in touch with every single thing in the whole world. Yeah, well, she's a good kid. She's a good kid. And she does okay with it. It's not really too bad. I will tell you, Deb, and I've railed on the cell phone thing for years. Most parents, and I'm not saying this to give you a downer, most parents are eventually going to find themselves and their children getting burned by this.
Wow. Yeah, this is interesting. And I want to shift it a little bit more after the break, Dr. Ray, if you can stay with us for the first half of the show, because we're getting calls that are coming in. Shift it a little bit, too, about how kids aren't interacting with one another, that they'll walk down the street together, both texting people and not talking. There's all these side-by-side activities happening, but people aren't really looking into each other's eyes and really having these conversations. So we're missing that interaction. I want to talk about that, Dr. Ray. And just, dear listeners, if you would like to call in and share your take on this, we're talking about is technology making us antisocial? And share any wisdom you may have or your experience at 1-800-585-9396. We're going to take that first break. When we come back, Dr. Ray and I will talk a little bit more about this, and then we'll go right to the calls. And be in Minnesota, you're going to be up first, so stay with us on Take Two. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, only Jerry is traveling to Redeemer Radio's Share-a-thon, so pray that it's successful, and we'll be right back.
On Easter Sunday, Mother Mary Angelica returned to the arms of the Lord she spent her life serving. Now, the religious orders and the Catholic media network she founded celebrate her life the way she lived hers, through prayer and service. EWTN Home Video invites you to join the Franciscan Friars of the Eternal Word and the Poor Clares of Perpetual Adoration for Mother Mary Angelica's Rite of Reception and Divine Mercy Chaplet, Solemn Vespers in Memoriam, Vigil and Rosary for the deceased, Rosary in Memoriam, and of course the Mass of Christian Burial with Archbishop Chaput. To get your copy of In Memoriam, Mother Mary Angelica, PCPA, log on to our web store, EWTNRC.com, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and type in item number HDIMMA or call 1-800-854-6316.
Hi, this is Dan Burke from the National Catholic Register.
Hello, this is Bishop David O'Connell of the Diocese of Trenton.
Hi, this is Teresa Tomeo, host of Catholic Connection, and thanks for listening to the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Thanks for joining us today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're talking today about is technology making us antisocial? And so I brought on Dr. Ray Guarendi from The Doctor Is In to help us out a little bit and kind of shape the conversation so that when you do call in and take that fresh look, that new look, because that's what Take Two is all. Excuse me, Dr. Ray, please turn off your cell.
I'm sorry, Deb. I'm sorry. I don't know how to turn. Excuse me 1 second. Okay, hold on. Thanks. Okay, I got it. Okay.
Okay, this is hilarious. We need to do just a show and let you just do your thing. I just love it. Oh, wait, that's The Doctor Is In. That comes up next. There you go. You are so funny. Do people tell you that all the time, Dr. Ray?
Well, the people who like me do. The people who don't, they don't think it's funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
have you ever had somebody to say that has ever said to you, just knock it off. Don't be so funny. Have you ever said that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Really?
If I'm going to get negative emails, it's going to be dealing with, well, you're just sarcastic, or, you need to take more calls and quit talking so much yourself. One lady said, are you ready? Mm-hmm. The sound of my voice makes her want to puke.
No, come on, tell me that's not true.
That is true.
And that's a Christian,
I think
Christian.
she signed it Jesus, Mary, and Joseph or something. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I had another one. This is even better. She said, "I wish you would roast in hell."
No, come on, Dr. Ray.
Yes.
Dr. Ray, put your hand. No, I'm not. I was going to say, hold the Bible up. Seriously, are you being facetious?
No.
Wow.
Here's what happens.
See, now
Deb.
that would really hurt me, though. That would hurt me.
Well,
though.
the first 100 do. Okay, then after that,
Okay.
you get used to it. And I told my wife, quit emailing me. Okay, but here's the other thing, Deb. You got to understand when you're dealing with the personal, the hardcore, step on the nerves, nitty gritty life stuff. There are going to be people out there who are going to listen to what you say, and they didn't do it that way, or they had an experience that's quite different. They didn't take their vitamin B12 shot, and that's why their kid does that. And they get very angry. They take it very personally. Mm-hmm. Now, fortunately, the emails are overwhelmingly positive because I just delete the ones that ain't.
Oh, my goodness. God bless you. You are amazing. You are truly amazing. So we're talking about technology, Dr. Ray, and B is up first. I want to get to her because she's been waiting so patiently. She's listening to EWTN Radio in Minnesota on Sirius XM 130. B, welcome. Welcome to Take Two with, it's actually just Debbie today, and Dr. Ray Guarendi. Welcome, B.
Hi. Dr. Ray, I didn't send all those bad emails, just about 150.
I know it, B, and I'll tell you what, work on your spelling. Work on your grammar's terrible.
I know. I keep trying.
Jeez.
Well, anyway, on a positive note, my husband and I are of the 5% of uninformed parents who did not allow their older children when we were homeschooling to even do video games, much less our adopted child. And we are constantly being confronted that, we are depriving this child. We don't let her on the Internet unless we're supervising. And if she violates that, she sometimes loses it. for long periods of time. And, it's really ironic. She seems to be socially adjusted. She seems to enjoy playing with her friends, and she's not going to get a cell phone. And it's working great for us, and we don't do Facebook. We do use a little internet and stuff. And I beat Dr. Ray out. I still have a party phone in the middle of nowhere, so I share it with 10 people. Ha ha.
B, sometimes I'll tell parents, apologize to the kids for allowing them to do what you're allowing them to do. For example, if a kid's disrespectful, I will say to the parent, tell the child, I'm sorry. I have allowed you to be disrespectful. That's my fault. I'm the parent. Let's draw a parallel to technology. We get frustrated and upset because the kids are misusing technology. In many respects, we allow it. Imagine this. Imagine a parent telling their 15-year-old, I'm going to get you a flip phone instead of an iPhone. The kid would, that's right, the kid would go crazy.
No.
He'd call Children's Services.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, but the kid, here's the problem. The kids are ruling. The kids are ruling on this issue.
Yes.
10 years ago, my oldest son is 29 now, so we didn't really have a lot of this problem raising him. Right. But what has happened in that ensuing time from my oldest to my youngest is that the average age of cell phone acquisition has dropped to about 9.
Yes.
Okay? Yeah. So as a result, the parents have yielded. You got to yield. And you're exactly right, B. You're getting parents hammering you from every direction saying, B, you're quasi-Amish. Back off. What are you? Your kids are going to be on Springer.
Well, have you been reading all of the letters in the newspaper about us that we're terrible, terrible people and are depriving our children of their rights?
Yeah, I know. I've read about well, let's put it to you this way, B. I've been asked to do an evaluation on you, but I refused.
It would be scary, but then I get to do one on you. No, honestly, we did have a relative write a hate letter on the newspapers, and how dare we, when the children were homeschooling, allow them to spend time with their grandparents while they were waiting for their school practice to start for their music, because we were depriving the children of interaction with their peers instead of a loving, respectful relationship with their grandparents. We had a newspaper article written of hate mail. It was about a half a page long. This is our relatives writing this.
Well, I am a highly trained professional, so I can give my diagnosis on what is going on with a lot of these parents. They're dumb. Yeah. Yep.
It's really an uphill battle because, everybody wants to get, well, she is 9. My daughter had hers when she was 9. Yeah, that's your daughter, and this is my daughter. You think we were cave people, and she's very, very intelligent. She's very talented. She doesn't, she's very supervised, yet she's very socially, gets along with people really well. And It's really difficult, and we don't do Facebook and those types of things. We'd rather go to someone's house and visit with them or call them and say, is it okay to visit? I mean, I know we're old-fashioned, but it's working for us.
B, I was just going to say, what I picked up on is when you said she's socially adjusted. I mean, this is what the topic of the show and the conversation that we're having. And it sounds like you're developing her skills to be able to really relate on a one-on-one level with another human being, actually looking into their eyes and talking to them and really interacting in a deep and personal way. B, stay on for a second. Dr. Ray, we know that they've done studies. I mean, can you confirm this? They've done studies about this whole idea of text relationships and text courtships and stuff like that. There is a disconnect. What are we finding that the long term of this? Have they done any long-term studies on this yet?
Not been around long enough, Deb, to have the long term. Most of what we're doing is observational, anecdotal. But one of the ways that parents get burned is when they find out that their 13-year-old is madly in love with some kid that he or she has been texting for the last 2 months, unbeknownst to the parents. And this kid is now the center of her love world. And this spills out into the child's life.
Wow.
I just want to make parents aware of that stuff. I'm not sitting here to analyze it. I want parents to listen and understand that this is reality and that you have to have a level of vigilance much higher than a farm mom in 1880.
Right. Right. And balance. B, it sounds like you do a great job, and you know you're gonna meet those people, the detractors, those people are going to really want to take you off course. I mean, we just talked about it at the beginning of the show when Dr. Ray was somewhat joking around about people that maybe send some negative comments and stuff. You're always going to face that, right? Right, Dr. Ray? When you're trying to do something right, you're going to be met with opposition.
You got to make sure you're trying to do something right. That's always the key. You don't want to get opposition because you're a jerk. You want to get opposition because you're doing the right thing. I will tell parents, they'll ask me, they want an age. They'll say, well, Dr. Ray, what do you think is a good age, for example, for a cell phone? I'll say, nah. Depending on the kid's moral maturity, maybe 16. And even at that, you have to be very aware. And they will look at me like I am some kind of Cro-Magnon Italian throwback that is totally clueless. And these same folks will often come to me not too much later and say what I discovered on her phone
Was shocking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If nothing else but the text language, even if it is just a way that I, quote unquote, interact with my friends. I have had parents say to me, well, how will they interact with their friends? I mean, that's how their friends talk now. I ask, you mean that their mouth doesn't work anymore? No, but the other kids won't respond.
Right.
Well, then you have to make a trade-off. The trade-off is this. Am I going to allow you the kind of freedom that runs high with risk just so I can say you've got a social circle of 22 people?
Interesting. Wow. This is good. I mean, it's very good stuff, information for us to be aware of, Dr. Ray. We just have to be mindful of what's happening around us. And you're right. We have to be aware. B, thank you so much for your call from Minnesota. You blessed our day. Thank you and also the laughter and the joy that you brought to your call this morning, and we just want to say thank you so much, B from Minnesota. Dr. Ray, I know you're getting ready to prep for your show, which comes up next, where you do take calls in, and it's very interactive, and so we look forward to that right after Take Two. And I want to thank you. I know we're getting ready to go to our hard break. I want to thank you for jumping in and spending the first half hour, because you made me laugh, and I love to laugh, Dr. Ray. I love it.
Well, this is not the first time that I've been asked to carry Jerry's dead backside. You know that? The guy doesn't meet up with his obligations, and though they call me, can you cover for Jerry? All right.
But you're there.
Well, he texted me.
He did. Good.
Yeah.
Good. He did text. Oh, very funny. Ha ha. Dr. Ray, thank you so much for being with us and all the Take Two listeners. You are awesome. We hope you have a beautiful, blessed show as well in just a little bit. And I just want to say thanks again for being with me. I really appreciate it. I needed the laugh today. It's always good because when I'm in pledge drive season, I got to get in that mode of, raising money for Catholic radio. So it's good to take a break and laugh. So thank you, Dr. Ray.
Deb, you're most welcome.
Bless you. Okay, dear listeners, that was Dr. Ray Garendi. He jumped in and really started off our show well and got our conversation going about technology and what we need to be aware of as parents and even as just observers of what's happening out there in the world. This is an important conversation. We want you to jump in. We're going to take that hard break. When we come back, Jim in North Dakota, you're going to be next. There's room for you on the line. So call in and share your take on this. Is technology making us antisocial? Are we withdrawing from society because of technology? Or maybe it's the best way to communicate nowadays, to stay ahead and be up on technology. Who knows? Maybe it's worked really well for you, but we want to hear from you. 1-800-585-9396. Jim, hang on. We'll be with you when we come back.
60 Seconds with Father Mitch Pacwa.
The priest must approach the Word of God with a docile and prayerful heart, so that when we prepare our sermons, we're not just coming up with cutesy stories. Rather, we pray over the text. I especially love to pray over the text in the chapel before the Blessed Sacrament, because the Jesus about whom I'm reading is the same Jesus present in that sacrament, and I want him to speak to my heart. This is going to be very important so that the Word of God may penetrate the thoughts of a priest. They may penetrate his feelings, bring about a whole new outlook toward the world. We don't look at the world on the basis of the world's ideas and assumptions. My norm for Scripture does not come from the scholars. My norm for those of us in scholarship come from Scripture. And we must submit to the Word of God. That must be key here.
The people you know and trust are on EWTN.
The woman caught in adultery felt worthless. She found a new identity when a man stood between her and her executioners. Let anyone without sin cast the first stone. One by one they walked away. Is there anyone left who condemns you? Neither do I. Go and sin no more. Peter felt unworthy when he first met Jesus. He fell to his knees and said, "Depart from me, Lord, I'm a sinful man." Jesus saw something more in Peter than he saw in himself. Come follow me. You'll be a fisher of men. St. Paul was a persecutor of Christians. In one of the simplest and most heroic acts in early Christian history, Ananias, who had been hiding from Paul, went to pray over him. He didn't say, "Saul, you murderer." He said, "Saul, my brother, our Lord sent me." Forgiven, fisher of men, brother. Have you defined yourself in light of your sin or weakness? Jesus is reaching out to you now, calling you by a new name. This is Chris Stefanik from reallifecatholic.com on EWTN Radio.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, only it's me for the rest of the hour. Debbie, because Jerry's off to Fort Wayne, Indiana, Redeemer Radio. We had Dr. Ray on for the first half hour, and he was great. He really set the foundation. I just wanted to share, we have some Facebook postings coming in, and Jody weighed in on Facebook, and she said, about this topic, is technology making us antisocial? She said, quite the opposite for me. I feel more connected and have been able to build strong relationships via social media. I also am able to have spiritual reminders sprinkled throughout my day via email, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm able to stream EWTN radio to listen when I wouldn't otherwise get a connection or signal. Well, that's true. That's very true. I can also use technology to pray a rosary or the Chaplet of Divine Mercy. I'm often exclaiming how wonderful technology is and that we absolutely can use it for good versus evil. It sounds like, Jody, you're using it in a phenomenal way because you are growing your faith, you're growing your spiritual life, you're moving closer to God. And that is really what we should do with all of the tools around us, to use it to advance our spirituality, to get us closer to God. Thanks, Jody, for weighing in on Facebook, I believe. Okay, Jim, you've been waiting so patiently in North Dakota listening to EWTN Radio. Welcome to Take Two. Hi, Jim. Tell us your take.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I have a couple teenagers, or actually almost 20s now, and technology, for me, I use it for what I have to, but for them, it's a way of life. We've had like family functions. The adults will be sitting around talking, and you have a couch full of 5 teenagers, and none of them are talking. They're all staring at their phones. I mean, they do communicate through text and stuff like that with their friends, but they're losing the ability to talk face to face, to actually have a very personal conversation, in person. I think just from experience, I think it's a lot easier for a person to tell a fib or even a lie if you're not standing in front of somebody. And I think people need to be careful communicating to each other, that way, because it's a lot easier to be fake if you're not standing in front of somebody.
I would agree with you completely, Jim. And speaking about technology, our connection is a little staticky, so I just wanted to make sure I heard you correctly. And you were saying how the kids, because they're on Facebook or emailing or texting, they're losing that face-to-face connection, that interaction. And I agree with you completely. And what you said was very, very interesting when you said it's easy to hide behind this technology. You can lie. It's easier to, you can lie in a much easier way by just maybe texting something. Well, also there's a trail to that as well, because we know that people have been caught in lies on email or text messaging and stuff like that. And so there's a ways also to have that documentation, if you will. So it works both ways with that. But I agree that you can be very, not you, but people can be very, very shallow and fake, because you can hide behind technology and nobody gets to see the real you, the authentic you. And I would just ask Jim, so you stated what you have experienced and what you have observed with our youth. Jim, tell us, what can we do to change this? Now, we heard from Bea, and she was sharing what they do in their household. What can we do to change this with our youth? Because to me, like Dr. Ray said, long-term studies, it hasn't been around long enough. It hasn't come out yet. But I think we can kind of pretty much guess what's going to happen. We're going to have a lot of adults walking around with skills that they just can't really relate to one another. There's maybe a lot of people walking away from relationships because they don't have the skills and tools to deal in relationships because they have been relying on technology. So Jim, tell us, what do you think we can do?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm looking at this with my son right now. He's in, his middle of college, and he's looking at trying to find an internship and things, and it's just getting him to actually, drive up the courage to talk to a company face to face. I mean, he struggles with it a little bit. He's always been kind of shy, but I don't think being able to hide behind a phone helps. I encourage him all the time to talk to people. Go give him a phone call at least. Don't do it, by a text message. And their values are way different from mine. I'm happy with $100 little phone that I can check the weather on, because I really rely on the weather a lot for my job. And they have to have the $300, $400, $500 smartphones. And I tell them, when I was a kid, I could buy a car for that. I mean, the sense of value of what's important in life is just different, definitely from what I grew up with. And I guess in a sense, it's hard to relate.
Right.
I struggle with it. My daughter was just prom here not too long ago, and she doesn't really date a lot, but she knows boys. And this gentleman that took her, a young man, I asked to meet him. Well, that's just weird, Dad. That's the kind of, when it comes to social interaction, that's what I get from him. That's just weird. People don't do that anymore. I said, well, you know what? I am your father, and he's taking my daughter, and I expect to meet this man and young man and get to know him a little bit. I mean, it's, to me, that's what you do. And I guess it's not society, how they're growing up. It's kind of scary. I guess all I can really say is I try to encourage it and say, this is how it should be. You should have the courage to come and meet a woman's father, a young lady's father, if you're going to take her out and, that kind of thing. You need to be able to, if you feel strongly about something, you personally should be able to stand in front of somebody and acknowledge that fact. And I think as far as all I can do is encourage, I guess, and show them by my own example.
Right. Jim, I agree with you completely, and I respect that you stand up for that and expect that in your children, to have that face-to-face meeting if it is important. And I really admire you for that. That's what leaders in the families should do. And you're doing that, and that's really good. And I do agree with you, Jim. We need to start setting the stage for our children, setting scenarios up where they do encounter people face-to-face, where they do practice being one-on-one and looking into another person's eyes and interacting and saying please and thank you and having those conversations that are what Bea was referring to earlier as it's kind of old-fashioned, but you know what? That works. So, Jim, thank you so much. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for being a great leader. You're calling in from North Dakota, and thank you so much, Jim. Keep praying for Take Two and all our listeners, because these conversations are really helping others, and it's important for us to continue to have conversations like that like these that are, we can just act like we're in our living rooms with a cup of coffee or a glass of iced tea, and we're talking about how we can solve the world's problems, because that's what we are called to do as Christians, is not to stay stagnant. We're called to keep moving forward. We're called to keep learning and forming ourselves. And so to that point, before we get to Barbara, I just want to, thanks Jim again from North Dakota. Before we get to Barbara, I just wanted to share one other thing. I've mentioned this before on Take Two, and so has Jerry. And because we have these conversations, a lot of our listeners, when they call in, they feel very comfortable. We hear that quite often through Facebook and through emailing, that you feel quite comfortable calling in and sharing your story. Keep in mind, though, dear listeners, and even those of you who may want to weigh in afterwards and possibly critique the show in a positive or even a negative way, you may want to critique the show. We are only getting a snapshot of our listeners' lives, just a snapshot. Sometimes we're up against the clock and we only maybe have 45 seconds to 2 minutes to really address somebody's conversation. And Jerry and I are very passionate about always making sure that someone is left feeling that they were welcome to share their take on things. But ultimately, we're always going to point it back to our Catholic faith and point them back to the way of our faith. And so I just want you to keep that in mind, because sometimes it is hard to get a snapshot and to try to gather the whole picture in just a few minutes. So when we're having these conversations, please keep that in your mind, in your minds and hearts, because it helps us to shape the conversation and let people continue to call and feel comfortable. Okay. I just got a call here that says, how can people order the Faith Experience DVD? I can tell you how. I just got this note that came in from Michael, who's call screening today. Michael, all of the people that want the DVD, it has bonus footage on it of the One Faith Experience that took place this past weekend in St. Louis. It was televised on EWTN. They can go to onefaithexperience.com, onefaithexperience.com. And right now, for this week only, it has a 30% discount. So that's kind of cool. I would get in there. We're getting hundreds and hundreds of calls on the DVD, and that's really exciting. Okay, Barbara, you are next up in Maryland listening on the TuneIn app. You're listening to EWTN Radio in Ocean Pines. Is that Ocean Pines, Maryland, Barbara? I've never been there, but I love Maryland. How are you, Barbara?
Wonderful, and thank you for taking my call. So, first, let me say that the One Faith Experience broadcast from EWTN was awesome.
Thank you.
My daughters and I, actually, we don't have television, but we watched the EWTN broadcast, as we do with all of EWTN stuff, on our iPads and our iPhones and every other iProduct we have in this house, because, when you're doing something for 7 hours, it loads and, goes in and out, so we have to just constantly reboot things. But
thank you.
It was a beautiful experience Saturday. You guys did an awesome job. And my daughters, enjoyed the day with me as we kind of went through it. But I'm calling just to say I may be one of Dr. Ray's dumb parents, but I feel justified in my dumbness. So my daughter's 13. She's had a phone for 2 years. We do use the iPhone products because I can't see, and the iPhones have the voiceover feature on them, so we can, I can use the phone completely with that voiceover feature. We got the iPhones because my daughter started babysitting my youngest daughter for short times when she was 11, because she had taken a babysitting class, and we could FaceTime her with that product. So if she had a question or concern and we weren't home, she would just FaceTime us, and we could my husband and I could know exactly what was going on in the room. She uses the phone very cautiously, and I do go through it every day just to see what's going on. And there are some really awesome screening features that are parent protected. And so, I think that really for us it was a matter of necessity. She goes out and rides her bike and does some errands for me, and so I always want her to have her phone, because in this world I can't always be with her, and yet she has a lot of responsibilities for me, and so for us it works. And it works for us because we are in constant talking with each other, her and I, about the good and bad of the world, and do I know that there's going to be moments of distrust or problems? Yeah, I'm aware of that every day, and I pray for protection over her. But I just think that we have to be wise and vigilant parents, and we all make decisions for different reasons. And I get that, and I try to support parents in our school from all different angles because, some of our parents have to work, and then their kids are alone, and the days of landlines are kind of over for a lot of people for economic reasons. And so I just, I think there's a lot of perspectives on this topic. I do believe that my children are both active in sports and in other things so that they're not always on the phones or the iPads, but it's available and we use it together as a family in very cautious ways. And I may still be a dumb parent, and I'm okay with that because that's how we learn, but that's just my take on it.
Right. But Barbara, I don't think you're a dumb parent. And here's the thing. No, I don't, because we all, as parents, and I think Dr. Ray would agree with this, we try to do the best we can, and it seems like it's working in your family for your situation. And so that's what works. I think this is, and I don't want to put words in Dr. Ray's mouth, but I just know from being a parent, and also I've been in catechetical ministry for many, many years. It's when we just assume that everything is okay, and we don't take that extra step just to stay, like Dr. Ray said, vigilant. And that's when I think that I really believe in my heart of hearts that it's Satan. I really do. The dark side creeps in because Satan will find any crack anywhere. And
that's really what Adam Bly tried to teach us on Saturday, and that was just awesome. 7 hours of just fabulousness. And, and it's interesting because my daughter listened to that and she was like, Mom, there's a lot of stuff in the world that, and some of it she knew about, which was kind of, good for me to know that she's aware of that, and we had some good conversations. So, I'm glad that you brought this topic up, and I hope that in some ways, for those parents out there who are single parents or who are doing this, but just to stay encouraged that we do have, we are blessed in this time that technology is available to us. However, it can be an evil too. We just have to be vigilant parents and pray every moment for protection for our kids. So
absolutely, Barbara, and use it wisely the way you're using it wisely in your home. Absolutely, and then it works out. I want to thank you for bringing up Adam Bly. A lot of our listeners, if you haven't seen the broadcast or you haven't gotten the DVD yet, Adam Bly was phenomenal. He's a religious demonologist, and this was the first time a lot of people have heard him speak. And I have to tell you, Barbara, after his call, people just ran to the resource tables and were picking up all of his resources to help them in their families and their lives. So you're absolutely right on of what your takeaway was with Adam Bly. And I got to spend time with him when he wasn't talking, and boy, oh boy, is he just a wealth of information about what we should stay aware of. So thanks for bringing that up again, Barbara, and thanks for the kind words. I'll pass them on to Jerry Usher because I know he would love to hear that because he worked very, very hard. This One Faith experience was put on his heart by God, we believe, almost a year ago, and by the grace of God, it all worked out. And so thank you, Barbara. God bless you in Maryland. Thank you for calling in to Take Two. We're going to take another quick break, and when we come, can we take a quick break? Yeah, we can take a real quick break. And we come back, Jesse, you're going to finish up our show in Florida. We're going to go all the way across to Florida. I love that. So Jesse, stand by. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
This is Al Cresta, host of Cresta in the Afternoon, and Cresta in the Afternoon looks at all of life through the lens of Scripture and the teaching of the Catholic Church. Church teaching is the light by which we view the world, and so we'll explore everything, from abortion to Hollywood, and from the First Amendment to the United Nations, and everything in between. Following St. Paul, we're seeking transformation through the renewing of our minds. So that's Cresta in the Afternoon with me, Al Cresta, weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
I'm Raymond Arroyo with Mother Angelica, A Remarkable Life. In the course of this remarkable life, Mother Angelica built enormous things, television networks, shortwave stations, but this grotto to Mary was the first thing she built in 1958. The sisters here at Sancta Clara Monastery wanted a backyard grotto, and they turned to Sister Angelica to build it for them. But she could find no funds, so she turned to some of her old friends in Canton, in southeast Canton, including the head of the syndicate. The mob boss agreed to collect funds for her, and she took each name, inscribed them on a piece of parchment, and enclosed them in that base. She saw this as a way that these men might be connected to the church and possibly gain redemption. Stay with EWTN as we continue to celebrate the life and legacy of Mother Angelica.
Welcome back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're going to go right to Jesse. I want to get you on before the end of the show. Jesse, listening to EWTN radio in St. Petersburg, Florida. Hi, Jesse.
Hello, how are you?
Doing well. I just want to kind of get it because I'm from Arizona. So I'm in Buffalo, New York. It's beautiful in Buffalo, except right now it's raining and a little bit of cold. So what's in Florida? About 75 degrees?
It's like 80-something and sunny, like it always is. I'm actually from South Florida, but I lived in Tucson, Arizona in 2008, so I know how it is there, too.
Yeah, well, enjoy the day. Enjoy the day. So what's your take on this? I'm curious.
So my take on it, I'm 27, so I'm younger, but I'm a mom to two children. I have a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old baby. And I had a smartphone for a while. When I grew up, I didn't have a lot of money, so I was in like that generation in between where smartphones are just becoming the thing in like the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. But I never even had a cell phone until I was 19, which would have been 2009, 2010. And so when I got my first cell phone, it was just, your basic phone. A couple years later, I got a smartphone, and I think it definitely changed for me, like how I communicated with people. It tended to allow me to use other means of, like, I guess, distracting myself so that it was easier to pull away from actual interpersonal relationships with others. And so I feel like, for me at least, it tended to exacerbate, like, my anxiety that I was having or, like, feeling depressed. It was just easy to turn on a phone and tend to just kind of block out whatever you were feeling and not talk to people about it. You could look at your cell phone, your smartphone, and all of these apps and the internet and whatnot. So I actually got rid of my smartphone a couple months ago, and I didn't want to turn back to it. And I feel like, I think I heard a man speaking earlier about his son having a hard time talking with people, and the son was in college. And I feel like that's definitely an example of what technology is doing to young people, because I have a sister who's 18, and she's not able to actually, 1 second, sorry, my son, my sister's 18, and she's not able to communicate with anybody in person hardly, but she uses the internet. And I was just like, you can't communicate on the internet with with an employer. And so for me and my children, at least, I don't know where technology will be, and at the time that they're, older, when it's at that time. But I think children are just getting smartphones way too early. Like, I see 10-year-olds with them, and there's this unmonitored access and even monitored access. And I just feel like, in our society at least, it's like, you don't have a Facebook. Why not? How can you live without
How can you
Facebook?
exist? Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like you can't exist without it. And I just wanted to kind of like just make my life more simple. And for my children, I don't really want to allow them to have one until I feel like they're really mature enough to hold something that has that potential for danger in their hands, because I've personally used cell phones for a lot of things that I shouldn't have when I was younger. And I've seen children who I know in my community where I grew up, use them. And so that's just my take on it. I think it kind of sounds like a Luddite kind of thing, but I just feel like I don't really need it. Why do I need to buy into it and spend all this money on this hype?
Right. Jesse, first of all, I'm so glad that you called in, because what you shared is extremely important for all of us, especially for the young moms like yourselves out there, because you said you have a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old. So the 5-year-old is, what's the 5-year-old's name?
His name's Elias, and you can hear him in the background telling me about something he's watching, a science program.
That is adorable. Did you say Elias?
Yes, it's Elias.
Okay. Elias, beautiful. And the 1-year-old?
Her name is Moon.
Moon. I love it. Very nice. Very nice. Well, Jesse, you know what I love about your call? I'll tell you why I love it, because you recognized in you that it wasn't serving you. The smartphone wasn't serving you. It may have seemed like it was, but then you realized it wasn't serving you. And that is important, because most people don't realize when things stop. And you use the term, we use the term in life skills, when it's not serving us, when it's not bettering us. A lot of people, they wait too long to get rid of it, and then they get to the point where it's so part of their lives they can't get out of it. But you recognize that, and you, like, I love what you said. You kind of simplified, but in actuality, what you did is you freed yourself. That's what you did.
Yeah, definitely. That was it. It's kind of like when Joseph is in the Bible story, and Joseph's with Potiphar's wife, and he's like, just run away, get away from it. That's why I just need to get rid of this thing, because the longer it sits there, the longer I'm going to look at it and be like, oh, I can just check my Facebook. And I just was kind of like, if I just get rid of it, it won't bother me anymore, and I'll save $200 a month. So
right,
I'm investing
right.
my money in charity more now, which is a nice thing.
Yeah, bless your heart. Bless your heart. Well, you sound like a great mom, and I'm so glad you called in. I'm happy you're enjoying that sunny day, and your 2 children are very, very lucky they have you as a mom, because you just have a joy-filled spirit. It comes through loud and clear on the radio.
Oh,
and
thank you.
Yeah.
Wait until they're 13 and they realize they can't have a smartphone. They're going to be like, what, Mom? What are you, an Amish person?
Well, that's when you'll have to call back and say, remember when I called, 7 years ago? And now you can share with us. But keep checking back with us. We love to watch your family grow, and that's all part of the Take Two family.
Definitely. I listen every day, and I hardly get a chance to call because I pick up my son from preschool. But today was an early day, and I said, I'm going to call in because I have something to say.
Oh, good. Well, keep calling, and would you pray for us, and maybe ask your son to pray for us as well? That would really be wonderful.
Oh, we definitely will.
Thank you, Jesse, so much. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you again for calling in. Wow,
have a good day.
Thank you. What another great show, dear listeners. You did it again. You are just amazing. We're in awe of you. And having Dr. Ray on, I think, was a really wonderful treat for all of us, just to really shape the conversation and set the foundation. Jerry Usher will be back tomorrow. This I'm going to stand on. I told him, Jerry, you got to be back. They miss you. But don't forget, dear listeners, if you want the One Faith Experience DVD, go to onefaithexperience.com. Check it out, because I really think, as you heard from the previous callers, it was a day that was a life changer, an absolute life changer. So onefaithexperience.com. Tomorrow's show is, do you feel under attack as a Christian? Do you ever feel like you're just being Christian, it's just everything's coming at you? That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow on Take Two. But until then, I want to wish you a beautiful and blessed day. See you tomorrow.